All right. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining again for the Holistic Interview Series. I'm super, super excited to bring you my dear friend Tiffany tonight. And so I cannot wait to introduce you guys to her. I'll give you a little bit of, if you're new to the kind of series I'm doing here on Facebook, I wanted to give you a little bit of background for those that maybe don't know or haven't been watching this. So my name is Courtney Mason. I am a certified essential oils coach. And I have a business called The Natural Motive. So I have a real heart for just all things holistic health and just bringing a lot of education to the public, to the masses, just to try and empower people and learning more about how our bodies work and the amazing tools that we can have at our fingertips to really help support ourselves. And so I started this, I wanted to do a series where I just brought some information to you guys and really wanted to kind of focus on some people here in the Columbus area that really specialize kind of in this same mindset of just holistic health and care. And so I normally would put this stuff on the Natural Motive Facebook page, but I decided to do this series on my personal one just so I could reach more people, because usually I kind of keep that to my business. But I thought, we're all kind of stuck in home. And especially with the climate of how things are going on right now and just kind of the fear and all the unknowns, I thought it would be really helpful to have it on my personal space. So that's a little bit about me. If you didn't know, most of you probably do know me, but let me tee it up and talk about Tiffany. So thanks for coming on, Tiffany.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this. So Tiffany and I met about 2 years ago, and she and I met really, she was help supporting me after the birth of my second son, Ronan. So she was there right from the beginning when he was a little newborn, and also with Jude as well too. And so we just really connected on so many different levels, but just like the friendship and just the connection really hit it off. But we just started to share with each other kind of both of our hearts of just wanting to serve people and serve people kind of in that holistic way. And so through that, we just really got connected and kind of just built this friendship. And, we both started kind of brainstorming of like, how can we bring education to the masses as far as like, especially in our community, and just really wanting to bring that education to our community and feel like family and start to build kind of this family together. So we decided last fall, it was kind of right in the peak of like, cold and flu season. So we thought we'd put our minds together and come up with a class that we'd start teaching here in Columbus. And so we did our first 2 classes, and kind of under that umbrella between her expertise being an integrative nurse practitioner and kind of my background as well, we kind of created this Wellness Unveiled umbrella where we really just want to be able to, like I said, like bring community, bring family together and just really educate and have this group of people that we can continue to serve and just bring other people that are, in different spaces, but all kind of like-minded. So I'm really excited for you guys to meet Tiffany, and I'll let her kind of give you more of her background, but I'll just give her a little bit of a tee off too. So like I said, she's an integrative nurse practitioner. She's been in the field for about 8 years. She's also a certified lactation counselor and a child passenger safety technician as well. And so she has her own business. She just launched it. I'll let her talk a little bit about that, but it's called Virtue Wellness. And I'm super excited for her to just really kind of talk more about that. So Tiffany, first, why don't we just start with kind of your background as far as like why you even have a heart for serving and, before you even became a nurse, like kind of where did that all start?
Yeah. So I would say it started when I was in high school. I was sick a lot. I had a lot of gut issues. I just didn't feel well. And I went to the doctor a lot, and I got the same treatment. I was either offered an antibiotic or an antidepressant, and nothing helped. So I feel like I was just really suffering for a really long time, and just really wanting to find answers. So after I graduated high school, I just, I had in my heart that there was a different way. The answer wasn't, always going to be a prescription. So I started really digging into, what is health. what are the ways that we can, nourish our bodies? And that led me into the whole, field of health and wellness and alternative medicine. And I started doing research on herbs and homeopathy, essential oils, nutrition, all kinds of things. And I started just kind of using my own self to try those things and see if it helped me to feel better. And what I found was, just by my own, my intuition and the knowledge that I was gaining, I was able to start getting relief on things that I had been really struggling with for years and years. And I just thought that was so powerful. And I wanted to share that with my friends and family, because I knew that, there were other people out there that were like me that were suffering too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And so you have been an integrative nurse practitioner, like we said, for about 8 or 9 years. But then, really, how did Virtue Wellness come about, and when did that get started, and kind of what was the idea behind what Virtue Wellness was?
So I feel like this has been growing for, I mean, honestly, like 16 years, just over, all the time that I've spent myself gaining, more knowledge. But I would really say that in the last 2 years, I feel like God really put in, on my heart that I needed to, be obedient and, walk forward with this, just to offer families, whole care. And I worked in integrative pediatrics, and I saw so many parents that also, they wanted to be able to provide care for themselves, but they couldn't find anything that was affordable. And that they just didn't feel like that they could have access to that, and start, feeling well through integrative modalities.
Mhm. So is Virtue Wellness up and running? And tell us a little bit more about what kind of specific services that you are going to offer through Virtue Wellness.
Yeah. So this is it's really exciting. I just launched on Sunday. So that was kind of a Easter,
Yeah.
surprise for everyone. So we're up and running. We are accepting new clients. And I just want to offer, again, the whole package. So it's whole family care and wellness. It's a direct primary care. So, we don't do insurance or anything, but I've tried to make everything super affordable for families. And what we offer are, anything that you would really expect to get when you were going into, primary care office. Your well visits, your ill visits, and all of these things are available through telemedicine, and house calls eventually. And then we're also doing health coaching, and lactation services, and all the things.
That's amazing. I'm so excited. So I know the climate's a little tricky right now, just with everything that's going on. So if somebody wanted to get started with you like tomorrow, now that you're up and running, like what's the best way, as far as like what would you be offering now during this kind of climate for
Yeah.
them, that they can maybe expect to say like, okay, I have a little one, and maybe a little nervous they're getting sick or something, or even for themselves, like what does that look like right now?
Yeah, so thanks for asking that. I'm gonna be doing phases, obviously with the climate, current healthcare climate, and just some of the restrictions that are out there. So phase one is live now, and that is the telemedicine services. And then it's also anything to do with health coaching. And I am working on trying to also just develop like a nurse on call, which would be like a lower cost membership as well. Just if you already have a provider, but you just want someone that you can consult with on integrative, I want to offer that as well. So that is coming. I'm just continuing to look for, more things that I can layer in. And then the next phase would be the house calls. And yeah.
Yeah. So what, I mean, it excites me because I think what you're offering, or I know what you're offering to families, is just something that feels way more intimate and more patient kind of focused. Not that, I mean, not bashing the current system or other physicians that are working really, really hard to care for families. I totally understand that. I think maybe just talk a little bit more about like kind of what sets you apart, and kind of what does that look like, and how is that different kind of than the normal way that we used to go to the physician and things. I think it excites me because it does feel more intimate and more connected and more one-on-one based, where you have more time and you maybe know the family, know the kids. Like you were saying earlier, it's not just about the kids, it's about like, I mean, I know you used to ask me like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And especially as new moms, like no one, you're so worried and focused about the baby and your children all the time that it's very often, it's not very often that anyone really stops and asks you genuinely, like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Which is a totally different mindset. And I think it's really invaluable to really start, to start focusing on that, of making sure that we are taking care of the parents too. And as, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, then, you know, it's that much
Right.
harder to take care of our children. So yeah, so maybe talk a little bit about like, what are kind of the specific differences of what your heart is and what you're going to offer through virtual wellness that people can start, you know, what they would expect from you.
Yeah. So two things come to mind that I really have always been interested in, and that is your story and slow medicine. So basically, what that means to me is that we all have stories and we're all connected. So even though, like you were saying, you know, you might be coming for care or, you know, seeking care for your child, but really that child doesn't just end with that child. It's a whole, you know, family that's surrounding it. So I've always I feel like I've always approached patient care with love. And, you know, to love a person is to love everything about them, you know, what their story is. And I really want to just connect with what your story is so we can kind of walk through that together, and give care, you know, related to that. And I think that's where we come into the slow medicine, which is really just, you know, it's so different than what I was used to receiving when I was, you know, growing up, or even what, you know, we're trained to do. So really it's just that prolonged, you know, period of time where you take 30 to 90 minutes with, you know, a family just to go through that discovery and connection period, and make sure that you're really giving them the best service, that's really meeting their needs. So I feel like it's a lot more patient-centered. We talk so much about patient-centered care, but that's hard to do even when you're going into a facility. There's so many different distractions going on. And that's one thing that I've always loved about house calls. I did do house calls for new moms and babies for about 3 years. And it was so awesome because, you know, when you're in the hospital, everything is so rushed. You know, there's, again, so many distractions. But when you're in your home, I feel like you can feel so much more at ease, and you can really discern what, you know, what exactly is it that we need, you know, what's working and what's not working, and what, you know, what support do we need right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really beautiful too. Just, it puts a different it puts like a whole different feeling and atmosphere around medicine. And I think you just touched on it, like just even being in your home, you don't even know, but like when you, I know for me personally, like I walk into a doctor's office, it's like you psychologically kind of shift, you know, like things get a
Mhm.
little more nervous and you feel the pressure of, you know, they've got other patients that they're, you know, speaking with or have to work with, or even if you have to wait a little bit, like it all kind of plays into that. And again, it's not saying anything, you know, bad about the current, you know, physicians that are out there working. It's just kind of, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so I think what you have to offer is just something that's really, really special and really unique. And I think it's one of the things that, since it's not really out there. I mean, this really isn't, I mean, you and I have talked about like even just physicians that really think in that holistic mindset and looking more towards, like you were saying, like slow medicine, like that's not even really a vocabulary, you know, that's not really vocabulary that's used. But I think it's
Yeah.
so important that we do look at the whole person, because there's so much more that goes into play with our health other than just like symptoms and what's at the surface. And I've personally gone through my own journey and have learned the truth behind that. And it's like I'm still learning so much about that. It's like there's so many more things than just surface level symptoms that are going on. And so to find someone that really knows that ahead of time and really already, you know, you already have that mindset, of that you want to look at these people holistically. And like you said, their story, like even that vocabulary, like you don't really hear that either, like slow medicine and your story. Like, that's why I was so excited to bring you guys Tiffany today, because I just know she just has such a beautiful heart that God's put in her, to really serve people. And so, yeah, so let's talk kind of in that same mindset of like, I know, on Virtue Wellness on your website, you talk a lot about, kind of like the praise, love, and the serve. And that's
Mhm.
a big foundational part of Virtue Wellness. Can you, just for those that, are new to you and are going to be going to your website, can you kind of talk about what that means to you and why that's like a core foundation, to Virtue Wellness?
Yeah. So, I did a lot of praying and kind of meditating on, what do I feel like people really need? And what do I feel like is lacking right now, and how people are cared for? And I just settled on those three things: praise, love, serve. And they mean so, they mean different things to me in certain, situations. But I feel like essentially, the praise part is that we all, as individuals, like, you're the best person to tell me about what's going on with you. So I feel like that, that deserves praise, that you're the expert on your body, on your needs, and really what you're seeking care for. So, that's part of the praise. But I also think that part of the praise is, prayer and meditation, and just kind of giving it to our creator that, he is the one that has ultimately, designed us. And so it's really also kind of the introduction of trying to bring in more of an integration of faith into health, which for, years and ages before us, that was really where medicine started, in the faith field. But then it slowly kind of separated from that. And so I think that leads into love, because I think, we are called to do everything in love. And there's not a lot of love sometimes that you can feel when you're in a medical, establishment. Not that it's not there, but I think that there's some barriers to being able to fully
Yeah.
express that. And then the serve part, again, is just, it's serving to that person's story, and just serving not only to that individual, but also thinking about, you as a whole, and then how do you interact with your community and how can you serve there? Because I think when you have a whole person, then that really enables that person to be that full expression of themselves. So then they're impacting others.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what kind of resources that you have, or things that you either have in the past pointed people to, like when we're talking about kind of, whole body, and I know you talk a lot about
Mhm.
like mind, body and soul, like all those things, like if you're coming up to a patient that kind of needs more than just like you kind of talked about, like the prescription, and needs more like soul care and mind care, like what are some things that either you in the past have kind of, resources you've given people, or things that you will, be able to give, to the families that really need it? Because I think that's important too. Like there's just not a lot of those kind of resources that are really offered up
Mhm.
to people. It's just kind of like, hey, you maybe have some issues here, and it's kind of on your own to go figure it out.
Yeah. So I think that in some ways that's a hard question to answer because it's so individualized. I always like to start with asking questions. And again, it's just to kind of walk through, what your story is. And sometimes we might unveil things that you maybe didn't really realize was part of the picture. But I really think that asking questions and being very intentional in that moment is super important. Um, and again, it might reveal more information that then we can, take and walk forward with. So, as far as resources go, again, I think it would be it'd be individualized to what that person needs. But working in the community, I feel like I have a good pulse on what resources are out there already. And I've built a lot of really great relationships that I feel like I could be confident in referring, a patient or client to that person, and know that they're going to get the love and care that they need, just the same as I would want to provide them.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that in itself is is a huge help of just, and that's kind of always been my passion too, is just, and why I'm doing this is like just letting people know that there are other people out there that have other
Yeah.
expertise that are all still very much in alignment with addressing the full person. We just have different areas of doing so. Um, and I think just knowing who those people are, and you being proactive and seeking those people out and making those relationships, then like you said, then you can go out and have confidence in knowing who those people are. But I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't offer in general, or don't give us those kind of resources. Because, to tell someone you need to go find someone on your own, that's overwhelming, especially even in a big city. And then like what we've talked about is like to find someone that again is going to be compatible to what you have already started with that person, and to say, this person, I know you can go talk to them for X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You're still going to have that same mindset of like, it's not going to be contradictory. Because I think that can be really hard. You have somebody that's more holistic mindset, you go to somebody else that's not, then you feel like, who do I listen to? It gets,
Right.
confusing. So yeah, just knowing that you have those resources, I think is really powerful too. And then the last thing I kind of want to talk about too is like, I know you mentioned like slow medicine. You talked a little bit about like you studied herbs and essential oils. Like, are those things like really kind of what your practice looks like? Like it's really, you're looking at the person, you're looking at, the whole person, and then, being able to utilize some more natural resources that may be helpful for them first to really kind of stay in alignment with, whole person, whole care kind of so are those kind of things that you're going to be offering whenever, patients are coming to you?
Yeah. So I think first things first, it's going to be just meeting you where you are, because we all want different things. And even though I'm offering, integrative care is the whole package, right? So it's looking at the traditional modalities and the alternative modalities, blending them together for, a balanced approach. So again, I would say it's just meeting you, with your story, what your needs are, do you want integrative medicine? Would you like that layered into your, to your approach? I would say that it's always best to start with, lifestyle changes, nutrition, movement, adding in, food as medicine. And then, we go from there. It really just depends on what we're trying to manage. And then we can look and see, can we do this, in a more natural way? Are there things that you can do that are going to impact your health in a positive way before we would have to do, a medication? But then we have the benefit of having, traditional medicine if we need it, just to ensure that you're getting, the right care for you in that moment.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for just taking time to let us know about Virtue Wellness and just all the things that you are going to be offering. And it's super exciting that you have officially launched, and that your heart and all these things that you've had, that God's put on your heart for so long, that it's all coming to fruition now. And we were just talking a little bit before this, but me personally, I really think this is going to be kind of the forefront of what healthcare needs to be moving towards. I think people are starting to want that more and more. I think we're getting to a point where, unfortunately, our generation is getting sicker and sicker at earlier and earlier ages. And so a lot of us who've started out or now in this kind of field have all started with those kind of similar stories of like, we had health issues, we were confused, we didn't get the answers we were looking for. And it's like God opens this world of like revealing all these things. And then it's this passion of like, I got to help all these people, because there's just so much out there that we don't know, we don't hear about all the time. So I really think, what you're going to offer and what your heart is for families is just really going to be on the forefront, especially with, our current culture and our current status and things that, who knows what the future is going to hold, but things have definitely shifted overnight. And so I think we're going to be all looking for more. We need to make like 6 of you and then maybe 10 more of you, because I think this is going to be growing pretty rapidly. But that's just my little humble opinion, and who knows what that's worth.
Well,
so go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I think that's the power of, connection, that I would love to, connect with other people that are out there, wanting to do the same things and support, really, I think this is a huge mission that sometimes feels a little bit too big for me. But I know that I know that people need it. And I know that there's other people out there that I can connect with. So if anyone's listening and, they're interested in supporting this mission, definitely connect with me to see how we can partner together.
Yeah, And let us know. Let's end with how can, now that you've officially launched and you are ready to start accepting families, what's the best way that they can, what is your website? Well, I'll make sure I link it at the end in the comments, guys, to make sure to look for that. But what's your website and what's the best way that they can get in touch with you if they're really interested in starting to use your services?
Yeah. So hopefully you can still see me because I
Yeah.
was okay. So my website is virtuepls.com. So it's for PLS, Praise, Love, Serve. And you can also call me or text 614-655-HEAL. It's HEAL. And so either one of those ways would be the best way to connect. If you're interested in programming, I would definitely get onto the website so you can look at the services tab and see which services might be good for you. And I always offer a free 15-minute call if you're just not sure which service is right for you, if you'd be better fit for primary care or just the health coaching part of it. I love to connect with people and just make sure that it's the right fit. And then I also, Courtney, I wanted to just extend that anyone that's watching this video or that you've shared this message with, I want to offer a free, enrollment coupon. So that would waive the $99 enrollment, annual enrollment fee. So the code will be the natural motive. And if you want to share that with, your friends, that would be awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. Believe me, we so appreciate it, and I'm so excited that you've officially launched, and yeah, just to bring people awareness to you and what you have to offer. So that's very generous of you. So hope you guys take advantage. Please, please, please. Well, like I said, in the comments, I'll make sure I link her website so you guys can go directly to it. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram. So make sure you guys follow her, and yeah, we'll have the code in there too. So thank you so much, Tiffany.
Yay.
All right.
Thanks for
guys.
having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is awesome. Let us know if you guys have any questions. You can reach out to either one of us and we'll make sure that you get the answers that you need. But thanks again, guys, for joining us for another holistic interview, and hopefully we'll catch you guys next week. All right. Thanks, Tiffany.
Bye.